all that matters. All right, well then we'll just jump right on into it. What's up, everybody? It's the Unprofessionals. It's your boy Slim, aka Cliff, and I'm here with my partner in crime.
It's your boy Caesar, aka Jarvis. What's good?
I'm telling you, man, that mic is good. That's what's good. That's what's good. I mean, it's gonna help in the post edit. This is gonna help tremendously. I think we getting more and more professional every day. But yeah. I ain't too much worried about that. Yeah, I kind of see what you were saying about that too, man. I usually get to see a picture of myself, but it ain't happening right now. But anyway, you already know what we got to talk about, Doc. We talked about it a little bit offline, but we got to talk about this NBA free agency. I mean, we still got action even going on, through today, and it's still gonna be more dominoes to drop. But I figured, of course, we'll talk about some of the big ones and the impacts on the teams and stuff like that. So, I get a floor to you. I'll let you start off whichever one you want to talk, whatever movie you want to talk about first.
Well, I mean, let's start with Iron Man. Um, and I say that because just when you thought LeBron was going to get AD and Kawhi, Iron Man swooped in and put the Infinity Stones on his own hand. I mean, Kawhi, goodness gracious, um, it's been a long time that we've seen basketball in the NBA and has said how many teams can actually win it.
Right.
And now there's like a legitimate argument that can be made for a bunch of teams. Um, so I'm gonna start with Kawhi with the Clippers, how he was able to get OKC to uh, kind of give Paul George to the Clippers
Clippers,
and
right.
join up, get that 1-2 punch. I think is good for them re-signing Beverly. Like I'm looking at them from a defensive standpoint on the perimeter. That's gonna be
Man,
crazy.
nasty. You hear me? Nasty.
Uh, and I mean, I think about in winning time when you have to have your best five and you run out George and Kawhi, Beverly, Lou Will, and Montrezl Harrell. I mean, that's pretty formidable for a scoring and a defensive end, and it's small. So it's like you don't really lose a whole lot. Usually teams when they go small they lose a little bit, but this is more of like a feisty Golden State in terms of their small lineup. Really like how that was how Jerry West once again has proven that he is the GM god.
Man, you better ask somebody. That fool sitting up there like he like he's part of mythology or something. For
It's
real.
crazy. It's crazy what they were able to do. So I think they came off. I think they came off the best. I
Uh,
like that one too.
Yeah, I figured it is funny because you called him Iron Man, and for those who, if you ain't seen the end game, well, you can end your game. But
Right.
we all know what Tony Stark did and what he was able to build with that last suit to collect the stones. I know when we talked offline, you said Kawhi collected the Infinity Stones, talking about bringing balance to the universe and everything like that. But that's exactly what he did. Yeah, you can't ever doubt Jerry West. I mean, Jerry West is going to go down, at least in our lifetime, as probably the most influential gangster GM. Basically, they might as well name the award. He's already the logo. Name the award after him, because it just don't make no sense what this dude did. Now, they gave
At
up
all.
big stuff, though. They gave up big stuff now. Big stuff. Like, what was it, 5 first round draft choices and the option to swap. But the thing about it is, though, it's just like the AD trade. You got to strike while the iron's hot. And
Right.
if Kawhi is, he's, people will argue whether or not he's the best player in the game. But if you're talking about the best player right now, like right now, the person that can do whatever to your roster right now, if you put him on any roster, he comes to you and he says, "I'll come to y'all, but this is what y'all got to do. You gotta listen to him. You gotta listen to him." It was
That
also
is
so,
fine.
huh?
You gotta try.
You gotta try. You gotta at least try. You gotta mortgage part of your future to do that. And it'll be a small price if there's any level of success. I mean, if you sweep the Lakers in the regular season series, it was worth it. You know, that type of thing. You bring some legitimacy to that franchise having to be the little brother all those years in LA. It's worth it. I mean, they ain't played a game yet, and people are already like, "Hey, the Clippers didn't came up. They the new team, LA." You got to do those things. You have to.
Yep.
The only shame is that Jerry West, Elgin Baylor did all they work in the league and damage as Lakers, and now they doing it for the Clipper organization that share the same building, blah blah blah. But in terms of on the court, I agree with you 110%. Those point guard to shooting guard to small forward positions on the wing. I mean, defensively, there is nothing you're going to be able to do with those guys. I mean, you're gonna literally have to take a page out of Steph Curry's book and pull up after the half court line and shoot it up and hope they ain't pressing in, because Patrick Beverly might press you before you even get to the half court line. You bringing the ball up, so that's what you're dealing with. I like the concept of, Patrick Beverly seemed to improve his outside shooting. And when you look at somebody like Kawhi and Paul George, they do it on both sides of the ball. I know that there were people that were arguing if Kawhi went to the Clippers, was that enough to ascend them to possibly win a championship? And I never thought that, but I could see the argument for it. People were like, well, it's kind of similar to the situation that he had in Toronto. Yeah, that's true. He just didn't have another big name superstar. Well-run organization, nice solid roster of, let's just say all-star caliber players on down. But now you pair him with the person who probably was third in the MVP voting this past season, and the guy that went to a franchise and won them a championship and then dipped, and you put them on the same team, and you didn't have to mortgage a whole lot to get them in terms of. This is brilliant. I was thinking about this and I say, man, I wonder. I know everybody don't think like this, but I say I'll share this with the people. See, people will say you mortgage your future. Now, this is the crazy thing about draft choices. You don't know what they're gonna be. The difference with the AD and with the Laker deal and this deal is that you can kind of, it's almost like as the Clippers, I don't value the pick as much as I have to, because I don't know what that materializes into. I don't know who that person is. If you was able to put a name on it and then you could say, oh, this is, now see with the Lakers, see the truth of the matter is that, was Brandon Ingram what they really thought he was going to be to this point? Was Lonzo Ball showing what he was going to do? Again, have potential, but we're able to put a definition. We can define it. And then that's why you have to take the chance if you're the Clippers and say, yeah, I'm giving up 5 first rounders, but guess what? I don't need no first round draft choices if these guys going to come and win me a championship. Last point that I'll make about this is something that I agree with what Max Kellerman said, and he was talking about who to team up with LeBron. And one of his premises was team him up with another elite wing player, because that combination is something that can get you closer to a championship instead of doing something more classical like a front court, back court team up of elite players or whatever. And I'll say this, and it kind of applies to LeBron, even with them announcing that he's going to play point guard, like we didn't know that was going to happen. Is even when you do that with a LeBron is different. He's not a backcourt player. So teaming him up with AD, the reason why that's so potent is because you're talking about possibly the same concept like when he went and joined Wade. You're talking about 2 top 5 players being on the same team, and that's a potency that you're dealing with. So it really don't matter with that with the positional relation. But I do agree with Max Kellerman, in this day and age, if you put 2 elite wings together, that'd probably be more effective than having a really great guard and a really great center or something like that. And I'm telling you, Kawhi and Paul George, they do it on both sides of the ball, Doc. It's nasty, man. That's a great come up. That's a great come up. And I do like the what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of like peripheral thing of bringing balance to the NBA. If he goes to the Lakers with LeBron and AD, I'm not calling it unfair, but that's the closest thing that we've seen to Durant going to Golden State. And we see what that happens when everybody's healthy and when everything's hitting on all cylinders. Not so much that it just makes it less enticing to watch when you know that somebody is overtly, head and shoulders above everybody else. But yes, love the parity in the league right now. You have a few teams out there. It should be interesting. It should be, especially with the injuries to KD and Clay. This next season is kind of like a up for grabs thing, and it should be kind of good. And that LA rivalry, could you imagine that? That Staples rivalry right there on your doorstep. If you in LA, AD and LeBron and PG-13 and the Claw, man, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, I must admit.
Get ready for Christmas.
Get ready for Christmas. Look, yes, it's going down. I don't even really watch Christmas games like that, but I'm gonna watch that one though, for sure, for sure, for sure. What's next?
Um,
What's the next movie you think? Oh, you done with that one? Or what?
no, no, I'm done with that one. So I mean, might as well stay in LA.
Okay.
Obviously, the trade for Anthony Davis was big.
Right.
Um, but I really want to mention a couple of other things that the Lakers did that I thought were kind of important, given that they didn't get Kawhi. Um, I'm not a fan of 15 mil for Danny Green, but
Hmm.
uh, he does offer defense, some length on the wing, and
Mhm.
when hot,
Mhm.
uh, some positive shooting. I like Boogie Cousins, and some of it is I don't know that I expect Boogie to be 25 and 15 again, but I like the fact that he's still on a 1 year deal, second year off the injury, still has an opportunity to prove something to himself, but also to the rest of the league. You come in a little hungry, and you have a capable backup in JaVale McGee, um, to come off the bench so that you can still give him minutes, but not necessarily need him to play 30 plus.
Mhm.
I thought that was important. Re-signing Pope is important. Being able to get Rondo back, that's going to be good from a facilitation standpoint. Quinn Cook coming over from Golden State, being able to shoot a little bit, that's going to be helpful. I know that they signed Caruso back. He played some quality point guard minutes for them when Lonzo got hurt. They did some things that I thought were good in terms of rounding out their bench. Um, Obviously, you would have liked them to kind of get some other guys who went a little earlier, but like I was telling somebody else, when you have an opportunity to go get Kawhi and he's interested, he's listening to you, you have to decide if you're going to be all in or not.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with them being all in and waiting and giving him the space. And as soon as he made his decision, you go and round out your roster. So I like what they did. I think it obviously with LeBron and AD, I think LeBron wins MVP this year. I think that they did a good job of rounding out the bench with some need and with some size.
Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
that is something that I thought that they lost when they got rid of Zubac, who also is in LA with the Clippers.
Who's also with the clip, right? Yeah, I agree with that, man. I thought they made some quality moves. If 15 mil a year is hard for you to bite the bullet for Danny Green, your 1 year deal for Boogie was 3.5. So you get give a little, take a little. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you might be think you overpaying that. Boogie is worth more than 3.5. We all know that.
It
And
balances out.
yeah, so it balances out. But they did make some good moves. That when we first opened up, and I said there's even stuff moving today, and I know we talked about this through text message a little bit. But they signed Avery Bradley. I think
Yeah,
that's kind of like that's just a real value. That's a value to get him probably at the price that they got him at. I think it was like 2 years, 9.7 million, something like that. But the point of the matter is that Avery Bradley, a lot of people, he got lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, because just like a summertime come and people be moving to people and doing whatever, he had some strong years in Boston, especially on
yeah.
the defensive side of the ball. And then he got jumbled up in a couple of moving here, moving there. I think he started stop with the Clippers, stopped with Detroit. I think that's where he was last, and now he with the Lakers. I think that's a value pick when you now have, LeBron starting at point, but then you got Rondo and Bradley able to come off the bench in a more traditional point guard role with that second unit, stuff like that. Yeah, that adds value to your roster. So, look for the Lakers. Like don't people shouldn't be out there like, oh, they didn't get Kawhi. No, no, they did a decent job of spending that money
Yeah.
to get that or whatever. So that was cool. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah.
As a fan, I was pleased.
That's always good to hear. That's always good. What you got next?
So I can tell you what I didn't like.
Uh oh.
Well, what I don't like. I don't really like, and I understand the hype around it. And I think it's justified when you think about the names, but I am not a fan of Durant and Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan. It feels very much like Durant, Westbrook, and Steven Adams in OKC. Like I get it if you're Brooklyn, you got two premier stars on the same squad. Of course, you're not getting Durant for the first year, but like I've seen Kyrie Irving without a superstar. It's terrible. Um,
It's bad.
and I've seen Kyrie with quality young players around him, and it's it's just a little bit better than when he's by himself.
Hmm.
Uh, I know what Durant is with another star on the team. Um, and you talking about he not going to be playing this year. He not going to be at 100% next year.
Hmm.
So we talking about all of a sudden I'm looking at a 4 year max with just two guys.
Hmm.
DeAndre Jordan. I mean, I just what does that do to Jared Allen? Jared Allen, who came on, got a lot of run last year, seemed to be pretty serviceable, especially on the defensive end. And oh god, hey, go go in there with mom and close my door.
Oh my God! Then here comes the.
I just, why this is I had the door locked.
See, you
He just
you you wanted to have
so
multiple children.
okay. Go in that
Brizzy Bryce,
house.
Brizzy Bryce, let me and your daddy work. Thank you.
This is a shame. I just
Uh, the entertainment is brought to you live by the Unprofessionals. We sponsor ourselves in this until we get some official sponsors.
but yes, Jesus Christ. Um, but no, I think that I worry about that stunting Jared Allen's growth. I don't know, man. Brooklyn just had a nice chemistry last year, and Kyrie Irving, I'm gonna say it, he's the chemistry killer. And I think the whole deal with Durant coming back and playing, I think that was all a scapegoat for him to be able to leave and also have a different narrative for him coming into the season. He sacrifices his body. I don't care what nobody say about him being misled. Kevin Durant, as sensitive and as serious as he is about basketball, you mean to tell me he didn't have enough wherewithal to say, you know what, I'm not playing. If he didn't want to play, if he didn't choose to play, he wouldn't have played.
Right, right,
But this
right.
was a different story, different day. But I'm not really a fan of what happened with Brooklyn in that whole situation.
I think that's a man. I think that's a brilliant comparison that you're making with Durant when he was in OKC with Westbrook and Steven Adams. And when you question DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan was about to have a problem in Dallas because he wasn't gonna be able to get no minutes. So when you announce him as a big trio signing, are we talking about him as a starter? Right, just like what you said with Jared Allen. Jared Allen beasted for me all last year in fantasy basketball, so I already know what he could do. And you talk about him being able to progress, and you're right, it stunts growth. Um, you know, I remember when Brooklyn did that thing where they signed Garnett, Pierce, Joe Johnson. They tried to do this star-studded thing, and it makes me remember that. Um, I don't know what type of chemistry Kyrie and Durant has on the court. You say it, and I believe it, that Kyrie can be a chemistry killer because he's kind of like a black hole when he gets the ball. You throw the ball to him, it goes in the black hole. Now, if he's scoring the bucket every time and he's finishing at the basket every time, I really don't have an issue with that. But it don't seem to always work out that way, and we see Westbrook having a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. they'll probably see more success than what they probably quote unquote are due because they're in the East. They might that might afford them, extra 5, 7, 10 games, maybe padded to the record at the end of the season. I do not agree with being a homegrown team, kind of how like the Brooklyn Nets was. Good draft choices. The right trades, getting D'Angelo Russell up off in there, but now he's not there anymore. But see, when you trade away somebody like him, regardless if he's a free agent, whatever, when you trade away somebody like that, and then you bring these other guys in, what you're saying is that not so much that I didn't trust what I did via the draft or previous signings, but what you do sacrifice is this team that you saw growing and was able to hold their own in the playoffs and stuff like that. Yeah, they're up and coming, and it might have needed a little sprucing up, but the question will be, when you bring in these superstars, is it going to destroy that culture? Not so much the locker room, but just that culture, just kind of the foundation of it all, and all that good stuff. I want to make one comment about the injury that you talked about with KD, because this is another thing that I'm going to say about that injury. So, regardless of who's saying what about whether he could play, didn't want to play, let me tell you something. I know exactly why he played. I know exactly why. And I watched a couple of videos on ruptured Achilles tendon and everything. It's so funny because I did it for this, and I didn't do it when I did it my own self. When I had a partially torn, it was crazy. A 3D model video on YouTube showed how different ways you can get it repaired. It was awesome. What happened was, when that fool compromised his Achilles, he had a down-to-earth conversation, real conversation with whoever the medical staff was, and they said, look, bro, whether you play or don't play, when the season's over, you're going to have to get surgery on your Achilles tendon. The Achilles is not gonna heal by itself. It's been compromised. So you can either go out there and tear it all the way, and then hope against hope that it ain't gonna happen, but I'm pretty sure they told him 80-90% chance it's gonna happen, because it's just you planting your foot down will make it snap. And he said, you know what, I might as well do it because I gotta go under the knife anyway. He was gonna have to sit out time anyway. And once you open it up and do something to it, whether it's partially torn, whether it was fully torn, the fact that it was compromised, you open it up, you're gonna have to sit down for 10 months straight up, no matter how whatever. So once that was presented to him, I'm pretty sure he asked the right questions, and he said, well, I might as well go on and go do it. I might as well go out here and do it. And that's what he did. And then we saw the video of his that tendon shooting up through his calf doing the gangster lean, just when he was just trying to do a simple little crossover, and that was it. And really, it's a shame because you look at that moment. That's the moment when he's done. He's done. He was done as a Golden State Warrior. Oh, real quick, this made me think about this. LeCobb or whoever it was come out talking about ain't nobody else gonna wear 35 in Golden State. Now listen, Golden State had been the laughing stock of the league, really, like since Run TMC, and the little juice they had when they had Weber for two
Dallas with Baron Davis and Steven Jackson. Monte.
Right. Oh yeah, and I forgot they had the other boy. What's your other boy? I forgot. He faded out to Monte Ellis. Monte Ellis had a little success, but really they was the laughing stock of the league up until they drafted Steph Curry.
Right.
You let this guy come up off in here in free agency. I'm gonna tell you, what that is. You know why they gonna put his 35 in the in the rafters? Guilt. Guilt. That's
fake
why. Fake guilt. Thank you. Fake guilt. All them tears and we just don't know what it was. You now knew exactly what it was, and then you go. The man ain't even nowhere near finished being played. It'd be different if he was retiring from Brooklyn 5-6 years from now and said, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and retire and go to state. Cool.
Exactly. Y'all can give him a statue too.
But the man fresh out of surgery, he still got his stitches in, his staples in, and y'all up there talking about ain't nobody else. Then they had to come back. And see this is where Jackie. Then they come back a few days later and say, we gonna retire number 9 equal dollar. Well, if you had that much love for him, then you shouldn't have sacrificed him with his money. You should have just kept him and paid the tax.
First of all, why are we retiring Why are we retiring number 9? Get out of here.
Come on,
Like
man.
at some
Iggy
point,
was a finals. Iggy was a finals
no,
MVP, man.
that ain't got nothing to do with retiring the number. It act like he homegrown. You want to retire Steph number, Clay number, Draymond number? Cool. You outside. Kevin Durant ain't even played three. He ain't even played 4 seasons with them. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
let us not get too.
I had to put that. I had to put that in there, man, real quick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. What you got next? What you got next?
So I like what Utah did acquiring Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really like Mike Conley as a guard. I know a lot of people laughed at him when briefly he was the highest paid player in the NBA a few years ago. But Mike Conley is a steady force of offense, control, a pro's pro, as they would say. And he is a definite upgrade over Ricky Rubio.
Oh, for
Now,
sure.
the part about Utah and everybody wanting to crown them that I struggle with, I still struggle with Donovan Mitchell. It's not that I don't think Donovan Mitchell is a quality athlete. It's not that I don't think he's a good basketball player. But this is the year that we're going to see who is Donovan Mitchell really. Because, like I said, I think Mike Conley is a little bit more competent in terms of his guard play. And I need to see some efficiency, some better efficiency out of your boy Donovan Mitchell. I got to see him not turn into Carmelo Anthony. If he cannot learn how to be a guy who can pick and choose his spots, and he should be able to do that with Conley. He shouldn't have to run the point and make plays for 3/4 of the game, but he has got to come with it. If he don't come with it this year, I worry about his career and him going down the route of Carmelo Anthony.
Mm. Well, I want to make 2 points about Utah. The first one, I'll piggyback off what you said in terms of I'm not worried about Spider Mitchell as much as maybe like you are in that terms, strictly for what you did just address, and that is the presence of Mike Conley. I think
Mm.
Spider Mitchell was leaned on a little bit too much as a ball handler, primary offense, all that stuff like that. Don't need Mike Conley to come and be a primary offensive guy or anything like that, but
No,
it does need to let Spider Mitchell play the tool guard, the shooting guard. Allow him to have the option of not being the ball handler and being the primary offensive threat on that team or option on that team. And the crazy part about it is so crazy when you what more perfect of a person to team him with than with Mike Conley? You know what I'm saying? And then Mike Conley is that type of guy where it's like, okay, cool, I can't get you the ball, so let me go do this floater and I can score the ball. And the next time down, I got you. And matter of fact, the next
yeah,
time down, I know exactly what play to run to get you open so that I can get you the ball. And that's the type of thing. But I do agree with you in this terminology that his development must continue to arise in the right areas. He does not need to
yes,
become a Carmelo Anthony volume shooting whatever. His efficiency has to go up. That is related to
yeah,
decision making. That's related to shot selection. That's also related to skill set because I got to be able to get a better shot. I got to be able to run and move off the ball now because I don't have it in my hands. I'm not going to be able to cross
exactly.
you up, but while Mike is crossing somebody up, I need to make this move so that I can be in the spot where I need to be to get the assist
Exactly.
so I can go up and get the bucket. So I do agree with you 110%. Second thing I want to
That's all
say,
I'm saying.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying he a trash guy, but I just want to see.
Yeah, absolute, absolute. And then what was the I can't pronounce his name. That's gonna be another under the radar signing that people don't realize how good he was for Indiana last year. Bogdanovich.
Oh yes,
That's how you say that.
Bogdanovich. Yeah.
Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich is he. You know it's almost like
Hmm.
it's almost like your boy, and I'm only comparing them because they're European. I'm not racist or anything, but it's almost like your boy Vucevic and
Oh
Orlando.
yeah, for sure,
Vucevic's a beast, great
for
stat
sure.
lines, and then nobody realized he was a free agent too. But Orlando did what they were supposed to do. Orlando showed up to the meeting in the Brinks truck and said, "Look, we ain't even gonna let you, because a lot of people see this is how my mind work. I was saying like." See, that's something that the Lakers would have could like would have been something crazy. Like Lakers would have been came out and signed Vucevic, and people would have been like, "Why?" Vucevic been averaging 20 and 10 for like the last two, almost 3 seasons, and y'all don't realize that, and you didn't even know. But Bogdanovich is kind of in that same boat. He was killing in Indiana. He was killing in Indiana. And you bring him to an established roster like Utah, and you allow him to operate, and you let him do what he specializes to do, which is shoot that ball. Him and Ingles, they become shooters. You know, you got your boy Rudy Gobert holding down in the middle. It's some very, very strategic, nice moves by that franchise. Nice moves by that franchise. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Good job out of them.
Yes.
Portland, great. You signed your guy for life. I love Damian Lillard.
He Dame Dollar for real.
I mean,
he Dame Dollar for real now. For real.
I mean, he's gonna be the next great player without a championship. I'm interested to see how Whiteside is gonna do. But them going out and getting Whiteside, I worry about Nurkic and just how banged up he really is.
Right.
Right. I also am a little concerned about Whiteside's basketball character. Is he really about the game? But whatever, I didn't really keep your guy. Not in love with the Whiteside pick. It causes me more angst than it does excitement. Mm-hmm. But do what you got to do. Seems smart. I love the story that they gave Cantor 6 minutes. You got 6 minutes to make a decision. And all right, time's up. It was only 4. So good job out of them. I guess not keeping it.
Right. You got to. Whiteside is kind of a mystery to me, man. I think he was a guy, like I remember when he got drafted, they were talking about him being kind of like a project because he was kind of like I hate to say it this way because I never disrespect any of those guys because I don't play basketball, but kind of like a one-trick pony. He had size, he was a rim protector, and that has value in the league, for sure. That has value in the league. But when he went to Miami, when he started getting PT in Miami, and he started kind of putting 10, 12, 15 points with them 15, 16, 18 rebounds, it was like, wait a minute, Hassan Whiteside could be a problem with them blocks, 2, 3, 4 blocks, these games, 10 blocks, all this kind of crap. Like this dude, and then something happened with that relationship with the franchise, and it just all went to whatever. It's not too many more places that's better to go, maybe, to say a Portland Trail Blazers where you have somebody like a Damian Lillard and a CJ McCollum who quote unquote, love the game. They love balling. Like them two guys, if there was no NBA, they would be like white men can't jump. They be running games out on the hard top, on the black top.
Dame Dollar would be creating mixtapes and going after Marvin Bagley. So I don't know. CJ McCollum might be old and out there, but Dame Dollar gonna be making albums.
And my bad, right? Dame Dollar would be playing basketball.
Of course, you need that $140 million extension because you got to get some studio time.
Right. But hopefully, the change of scenery will help with Whiteside.
Man, we've been spending a lot of time in the West. I want to say this real quick. Obviously, Clay re-signed. D'Angelo Russell. I'm just gonna say this real quick. I don't think D'Angelo Russell ends next season in Golden State. I think he's traded at the trade deadline. Whatever with the rest of what they're done, it's a wash year for them. Keep it moving.
D'Angelo Russell was a little surprised though. I don't know if that's a desperation move, but if you say he's gone at the All-Star break, that's kind of like the 90-day probationary period you are on the team. Yes, so
you have to spend the money,
right?
So why not go out? You're losing Durant. Go out, get a guy who is offensive, can take some of the load off of Steph, so you ain't got to run him into the ground.
Right.
And when you get to the trade deadline and the team needs a serviceable point guard who can create their own shot, boom, what y'all got? Because we got one.
Right.
Keep him up. This guy is not gonna fit in that culture. Period. He had a great season. D'Angelo Russell, I think, grew up a little bit. I think he would have been terrible with LeBron. he's going to be just as terrible with Golden State when they're really real. So great job while Clay is out. Give a guy who can shoot, get offense. We can keep moving. The Rockets are trash. Just I don't care what you want to say about. They didn't even make no moves, and it is indicative of where they are. The trash.
This is my thought process I've been having about the Rockets through this free agency process, and it almost got nothing to do necessarily with the moves or the lack of moves there. Thereof rather is like people acted surprised when Kawhi said he was going to sign with the Clippers. That might be because people are thinking, the Clippers are the Clippers, and we was getting reports leading up to the announcement that he had already put the Clippers off the table, which was kind of like smoke and mirrors anyway to kind of keep people off the scent. My surprise about it came about him telling the Clippers to acquire Paul George and then them pulling the trigger. That was the surprise. But you know what the first thing Kawhi Leonard said about his career in terms of where he wanted to play? He said, I want to go home. Listen to that. Unfortunately, if I'm a Toronto fan, it kind of like seals the fate on that. It's kind of like, well, you know what? Now you look at it, it's kind of like he never was going to stay. Right, because if we just listen to the first thing, he said, I want to play at home. Okay, bring this over to the Rockets. The latest reports that I heard was that Chris Paul came out and denied that he requested a trade. He denied. He said that if there was tension with him and James Harden, that was news to him. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. Believe that first thing you heard. Believe that first thing you heard. That they can't stand each other. That's the truth. Facts. Period. The reports that come out and say the reason, like the really, and it makes sense to me. It makes so much sense to me. The wedge that's between them is Chris Paul is a point guard. He's a traditional point guard. He's a floor general. He is the extension of the head coach. They said the problem is he's trying to coach James Harden. Now, and this is the crazy part about it is Chris Paul, as far as X's and O's and the logic of what you're talking about, you probably 100% right. But guess what, bro? That ain't how the team is built. And you stay broke up. You stay in the infirmary. And it'd be totally different if this was something coming off the season where both of y'all was kind of like in the top, him and James Harden was like in the top 5, top 7 of the MVP voting or whatever because they was both having killer seasons. But nah, you took a step back. You missed some games because of injury, and then now you want to act the fool. No, sir. Yes, you request. And I think the later report I read is that he didn't request a trade, but he went in and said, hey, if y'all want to go in a different direction, I understand, and I volunteer myself to go. Of course you do. But who wants you? And who wants you and your $41 million a year? Who wants you?
That's a fact. Nobody, which is why they're trash. And I like Chris Paul. But it's terrible.
That's a horrible
situation they got to do.
And this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. So with everything that we know now, look how that post-game interview and comment by James Harden looks now. Man, what y'all going to do to get better? I know exactly what we got to do. I know. You care to expound? No. You know what he's saying? Get his junkie butt up out of here. That's what he's saying.
Him and D'Antoni, because he ain't riding with him either.
And that's crazy. They negotiating the contract extension. Then D'Antoni cuts the process off. Then they rescind the offer. Then they reoffer the offer. It's like y'all. I mean, are y'all Houston Lakers? Like for the front office, what's going on? But
and then they come out and say,
right, go ahead.
And then they come out and say, we're interested in Russell Westbrook. Really? Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad I'm not a Rockets fan. What you got next?
Keeping with Russell Westbrook, man, it's a shame, man, that don't nobody want to play with that guy. And I think individually he plays hard. He's got the type of demeanor that you would like for a hooper to have. But I've been saying it for the longest. You can't win with him.
Right.
It's just impossible because the difference between Russ and other people, Russ really thinks that he's a closer,
Right.
and you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm done with that. And I hope that he does not end up in Miami because that's gonna be an accident waiting to happen. I mean, this guy.
Okay. So this okay. Well, this is what I'll say about this. It is a crying shame because when you talk about skill set, quote unquote, skill set, heart, ability, putting on the line every night. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the NBA needs a guy. The NBA, in a certain sense, breeds a guy like Russell Westbrook. The fact that he cannot play within a system or on a team where if he feels like he's the alpha dog and he gets to make those decisions about when to shoot, where to shoot, and all sorts of stuff like that. If he's not, and obviously he gets assists because he's averaging a triple double and all sorts of stuff like that. But when it counts, like when it counts, when it really, really, really counts, when you can't see, you're making a decision on this possession because you can't see far enough in the future about the future possessions that's going to affect the outcome of the game because you the alpha dog. Well, that's what that is, and it's a shame that he's going to have that type of career, and it's going to take a whole lot for him to swallow to eventually, and I don't know how much time it's going to take for him to go to a contender and sit on the bench and come in and get quality minutes. I don't know if he could take that. I don't know if he can sustain that. Carmelo can't do it, and he ain't got no job. He got a contract, but he ain't got no job. He getting paid,
Carmelo
but he
can
ain't got no
shoot,
job.
and Carmelo can shoot.
And
Russ can't
Carmelo
even
can
shoot.
shoot, and Carmelo can shoot, but Carmelo cannot get out of his break. Carmelo still looks at himself like he's in that LeBron, Kawhi, KD company. That's really what it is. And I think
And he's look
and it's just that it's not that you are, it's that you were. And then because if you understand that you were, then guess what? Now I can come off the bench. Now I can give you 14 off the bench when you need it. Microwave Vinnie Johnson. I can light it up for you. Whatever you need, assassin. I can be like Lou Will. Like Lou Will knew what he know what he is. Cool. But that's what Russell Westbrook's going to have to do. I don't know if I agree with you 100% about him possibly going to Miami. I think that's the best situation for him. Now watch this. This is contingent upon this thing. Now just follow me. Just follow me. This is my mode of thinking. It's just me. Jimmy Butler played in Philly. Jimmy Butler at best during say 45 minutes of the game because they did recognize him as a closer in Philly. But in 45 minutes of every game, he at best was the third option. And he ain't act no fool. And maybe he was just biding his time. Maybe he kind of was just kind of going for the gusto like, O'Brien Trophy or bust. And then I'll get on to my real free agency. And now he just signed his money in Miami. If there's anybody that displayed last season, unless it was a farce, that he can sell into his role of his and play second fiddle per se, he can play with Russell Westbrook. But this is the problem. This is the problem, though, bro. This is the problem. This is what you said. Russell Westbrook got to recognize that Jimmy's the closer.
right.
So
He's got yeah.
So so
Because
so that so what happens is that now we get back into that concept like Max Kellerman was saying. You got two elite wing players. You got two elite backcourt players. But then the thing that now what history tells us is that wherever Russell Westbrook goes, it's going to be an issue. If that is true, then yes, whether it's Miami, Detroit, or whatever the other team, well, he might be able to get away with it with the Knicks. He might be able to get away with it with the Knicks because Knicks just trash. I feel sorry for R.J. Barrett. I'm happy he playing for the franchise he want to play for, but you get Russell Westbrook, yeah. But yeah, it's a shame though. It's a shame though. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen with my own eyes play. He played the game right and all that stuff like that, but he don't play the game right. So whatever.
staying in Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Tobias Harris giving him the money, I think that's fine. I think that Embiid and Ben Simmons didn't necessarily care for Jimmy. Um, I do think that Jimmy was the closer because Ben Simmons refuses to shoot, and Embiid is every other game, he's there. I think losing Reddick hurts them, but I do think that adding Josh Richardson will be big for them. Getting Al Horford in terms of being able to play the four next to Embiid, being able to play the five when Embiid's not there, that was big for them. Um, with Milwaukee losing Malcolm Brogdon, I really think that adding Horford, getting Richardson, and keeping that core still there, I think that kind of makes them the team to beat in the East, even with the whole Brooklyn thing. Because again, I just don't,
Right.
especially next year, I just see them as the team to beat in the East.
Um, I'm a Tobias Harris fan. I think that the fact that he's moved around as much as he has moved around is it creates this fog around him as if he's like not good enough to stay. Like this is one of the first moves that a team has made to invest in him thoroughly. But I'm telling you, Tobias Harris is somebody who could step up to the plate and he wants that smoke. You want to test him, he wants that smoke. And he's probably gonna succeed more than what people think. I think he brings a lunch pail efficiency type work ethic to Philadelphia that he ain't too old of a veteran to where he can kind of still like be in that little era, that little age with Simmons and Embiid to where they look at him as a peer, but at the same time he has a certain level of, like I said, efficiency and work ethic that they can kind of quote unquote glean and look up to him as well. It's like, hey, cool. Oh, y'all, that's when I'm gonna get the ball. Cool. I'm gonna put it in the hole. You ain't gotta worry about it. You want it taken care of? I'm gonna do it. So I think that that's cool that they went on ahead and kept him. Yes, I do believe getting Richardson in that Butler deal was huge. I don't know, like I said, Richardson doesn't replace Reddick, but Richardson is an offensive based player that is ready to explode. Do whatever, whatever. The Al Horford thing was a little bit of a surprise, not to me because he went there because we knew Horford was on the move, but the versatility, and I just want to make sure that Horford, he ain't lost a step yet. But him and
Yeah.
Embiid in that front court is going to be dangerous. And then I do agree with what you're saying. I hate seeing Michael Brogdon move on from Milwaukee. They kept their core together too with Middleton and Brook Lopez, which I think are two smart
And
moves.
Bledsoe.
Huh?
I said, and Bledsoe is still there.
Yeah. Bledsoe's still there under contract. He had to get his mind right. And I think they got. Is that where Wesley Matthews went?
Yes.
And I'm not saying that Wesley Matthews is, like, oh, but I'm just saying, like, okay, cool, you're able to do that. But they had a core. They got rid of Tony Snell. I don't know what they did in terms of any bench play, anything like that. I don't know if losing Michael Brogdon is enough for me to automatically say that, Philly hop, skip, jump them or whatever. Everything all right over there?
Yeah.
but I will say that it definitely evens the playing field more. Like for me to know that if this past playoff season, if the Bucks would have played the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, I knew the Bucks were coming out of that. Now, if that happens, I'm saying that should be a heck of a series. Like, that should be a good series. So I do agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Rapid fire because it's getting long in the tooth.
I got you, brother. I got you. My bad, man. My bad. Yeah. Go ahead.
Kemba Walker in Boston. I think Kemba's better than Kyrie. But Boston's success will hinge on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Agreed.
And if they can actually take a step up, Gordon Hayward, he'll have another year off the injury. If he can step up, I think they're good enough to be in the middle of the pack. If those guys don't step up, they can see themselves on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Kimba is the better. Kyrie's the better positional player, but Kimba is the better player for that situation. No doubt. No doubt.
Toronto, Toronto, they lose Kawhi, but they also play well without Kawhi when he wasn't there. I don't know how you feel those shoes. Ultimately, they'll still be in the playoff picture. I don't expect them to be as good.
Yeah, they won't be as good. They won't be as good. I still think that maybe in the East, maybe they can squeak into the top four, but
Yeah,
definitely that bottom four, the playoff picture, they in there for sure. Um, any other significant moves? Significant. You had the Pelicans pick up Derek Favors to help bolster that roster as much as possible. I'm not saying that's significant. I'm just saying because
I will say
Zion's going there and they trying to.
I do
Um,
appreciate I do appreciate what David Griffin is doing with that team though.
right, right,
And again, they can all stay healthy and play kind of to what the hype was around them. I think that that could be significant for them. Lonzo, if he stays healthy, Ingram, if he continues to progress, Josh Hart gets a little bit more comfortable and can turn into something. And of course, if Zion can live up to the hype that he's been at with some of the veterans that they were able to get, Drew still there. I like
right,
Favors like that can be good. I don't know where that puts them in the West.
right,
Maybe they're scratching for the AC, but it's not a terrible young team moving forward.
right, right, right. I know Indiana got some players, but I can't think of their of. They got.
I thought
Uh,
Brogdon went to Indiana.
they got what?
Brogdon went to Indiana with Oladipo.
Brogdon went to Indiana. That's another defensive backcourt that's pretty nasty as well too. If when Oladipo is fully healthy, that's gonna be, you know. And they still got Miles Turner, versatile big man. We'll see. We'll have to
And,
see
and,
that.
and Oladipo's coming back.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
um,
Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb went out there to Indiana as well. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
we'll
Right.
see. The one team that some people are talking about, Denver. Of course, they didn't make any big moves
right.
necessarily, but I mean, that's another team with some cohesion. I want to say Michael Porter was going to be somebody that kind of is like a free agent coming to the but he boy got hurt again. Uh,
They
get
broke
yourself,
up.
yep,
Yeah, I think
uh,
the core of that team obviously is the Joker and Jamal what's the last name
Murray.
Murray, but then what you call it got to stay healthy for them all season. It makes a difference. Gary Harris, because that he's great defensively as well as Jamal Murray is just like busting at the seams, ready to really really break loose. And then you have the high
Yeah.
skilled Joker in the middle. They're going to be in the playoff picture at the top of the West for sure, for sure, for sure.
And
Um,
Millsap is still there. Gordon is still there, and they added
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant
Mm-hmm.
today. So I mean, another blow to OKC guy. They're gonna be terrible. Okay.
OKC's gonna be trash. Um, I tell you what, man. Let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and end it there. Let's go end right there. And I'm gonna say this tidbit. I don't make no comments, but I'm gonna make this I'm gonna say this. We had to talk about the Lakers because the Lakers made significant moves. We didn't talk about my team because we didn't necessarily make no significant moves. But I will do a video tomorrow, and some people might see that video before they see this video, but I'm going to do my Spur review tomorrow, and I'm going to give a concept about what I think they're trying to do with how and what and the type of people they signed. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, man, I think it's a concept there, but I don't think it's going to result in a championship, but it's a concept there.
Okay. All right. In pop we trust. Yeah, for sure. You Spurs truthers. You know how y'all do.
Nah, I'm a realist. I'm gonna call it how I see it. Whoever ran off Kawhi still need an extra scoop of dirt. they need an extra scoop of dirt on them. Somebody need to do something to their coffee. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, that's what's up though, Doc. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and end it right there.